open up to Proverbs chapter 3, 5, and 6. Anyway, trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make your straighten your path. Yeah, straighten your path. Everybody got that?
Yeah. Proverbs 3 what?
3 and 5 through 6. So I'm going to tell you about a story. This was a story that I heard when I was younger. And the dude was a very pious man. And it kind of appealed to me too. The man's name was Hans Sturden. The year is 1557. He was the Duke of Hesse, which was like southern Germany. And this opens up. This is his account on his journeys. I thank the Almighty Creator of heaven, earth, and the sea, for which I am again safe in the Grand Duchy of Hesse, my much beloved fatherland. All right. So, the man set sail to the New World, America. All right. So he went to a place called Uwatibi, which is modern day Sao Paulo. And so he sent out his servant to go fetch some traps to prepare. And so he went out there looking to see what he got the next day, and he was encountered by a cannibal, the tribe of cannibals. Ooh, this is nervous.
You got this. You got this, Zack. You got this.
Anyway, so the man, as he was greeted by the tribe of cannibals in a not so friendly way, he yelled, "God save my soul!" Scarcely, as it says here, scarcely got it out of his mouth before he was knocked to the ground and stripped of his clothes. That was not too PG. So as he was brought back to the huts of Uwatibi, he was instructed to say, the women were working the field as he entered. As he says, they were cultivating a root called mandioca. Mandioca was used in certain herbs and remedies and stuff like that. It was supposedly good for like lower back pain. He was made to call out in their native language, Andersik bin Aramave, which means your food has come. And then they brought him to their celebratory huts as they was gonna eat him. And then they was arguing who was gonna get him, and so they decided that the king was going to keep this man as his servant until a certain festival come around the time of the year. So they spared his life for about a month or so, and then the month rolls around. And then the arguing was still going on who was going to get him. All right. So then they said, well, there's only one way to solve this. We're going to slice him in 5 parts. 5 parts. So-and-so is going to get the leg, and so on and so forth. All right? So, I ain't going to lie, that scared the mess out of me.
You got this.
So then they call, he's, TV, the one was working in food, food is cold, Mexican gods for whole. Anyway. So they brought the statue of his gods and they laid them around him. And then they said, these are the people who foretold that we was going to catch a Portuguese man. And for anybody who doesn't know at the time, Portuguese wasn't exactly friends of this tribe.
That's right. Amen.
So the French was their friends. The French did not like Portuguese at this time. That goes on, that goes. So he's like, I am a German. I am not a Portuguese. Your statues apply to you. He's like, so I'm Portuguese. I'm a friend of the French. I'm German. So then they fetch a Frenchman that lives on the island that they're at in Sao Paulo. The Frenchman comes to see the German man to verify if he is German or French, or a true Portuguese. So of course the Frenchman comes up to speak to the German man, in French. The German man can speak this weird, inconspicuous native language, but can't speak French. And I just let y'all know it's a bad time when the German man's got to rely on the French man, right?
That's right.
And so he couldn't understand a word that this man was saying, and then he goes and tells him, "Hey man, they want to eat you pretty bad, man." He's like, "It's either me or you, so." So he told him, he's like, "Ain't you a Christian?" in their native language, you know? He's all like, "Well man, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do." Which is a little messed up, honestly.
That's right.
So, the man's like, "He is a true Portuguese, kill him and eat him." So the man walks off, and so then there leaves Hans just standing there in his water and his own pity, you know, like, "Oh, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?" So the next night, the festival was gonna be held the next day that they was gonna eat the man. And he was praying to God. He was like, "Oh God, if it's your will, you deliver me from these striped cannibals," he said. The king walked up to him and said, "Why are you always looking at the moon?" He's all like, "Is the moon sad?" He said, "The moon is angry with your tribe people." He's like, "For eating everybody." He's like, "Is the moon your God?" He said, "Oh, my God is higher than the moon."
Amen. Come on.
So
That's good.
the man wakes up the next day for the festival. The king decided that there was actually a sickness going on at this time for European travelers because of cannibals, right? So everybody's dying. And he's all like, "So your God is responsible for these people dying." He's like, "Can you spare us?" He says, "It's your faith for you to spare yourselves." So the king's like, "All right, we're not going to eat this dude right now. We're going to see who lives through this and who doesn't." So a lot of them died. A lot of this dude's brother died and everything. He said, "We will spare you if your God lets us live." And he said, he prayed to God, and he said God told him that he would not let the king die. So the king didn't die. The dude got well. And so they spared his life. And so the Frenchman come back a few months later, and he's like, "Oh, you lived, huh?" And he's all like, "Yeah, no help from you, though." So the Frenchman, this man was talking, he's all like, "So when's the next ship coming in?" He's all like, "It's probably a year from now." So he lived amongst the people for a year. They would not touch this man. They lived along with him because they were scared that they would die from the wrath of this man's God. So he lived peacefully with these cannibal tribes as they ate other people, but he didn't, and he tried to encourage them not to. They didn't listen. And then the Germans come back the next year. They come talking to the king. And then they're like, "We need to take this man back," because this dude's the Duke of Germany. Yeah, they was instructed to bring him back any way necessary, even violence. Well, he's like, "You're not taking my son." He referring to this dude, the Duke Hans Sturden, as his son. The cannibal king's referring to this dude as his son. That's how, yeah. Well, needless to say, the cannibals saw it his way, and they let him return. And I just, it was just a good story that I thought, saying, if you have faith, everything will work out.
That's right. Amen.
And I got another verse for y'all. Mark 9:23. Jesus said to him, "If you can believe, and all things are possible for